For this video, I'm going to go over with you how to file a 3911 form if you had a lost refund check. So if you filed your 1040, refund check went into the mail, but you never received it, so it was lost, you can submit a 3911 form to request a new refund check. So I've got a sample 3911 in front of us here, and then one slide with some background on the form and the example that we're going to be looking at. So there's really two ways to approach this. So the first option, the 3911 form, before you file it, you contact the IRS first, right? So you contact the IRS, you explain that the refund check was lost or stolen or destroyed, and you're speaking with a live representative, you're explaining what happened. And at that point, the representative might tell you that they are going to mail you a 3911 form. So they're going to mail you a 3911 form. Some of the fields might already be pre-populated, and then they also usually include a return envelope so you can complete filling out the information, sign it, and send it back to them. Okay. The second option is if you don't speak to the IRS first, you just go ahead and fill out the 3911 and send it in. Okay, so either one generally works. My recommendation is always to call the IRS first, but in this example, we're going to just assume that our friend here, John, has not spoken to the IRS. He just knows that the check was lost, and so he's requesting a new one. So in this fact pattern, we have John. He files his 1040 tax return for the 2020 tax year, so he's filing it in April 2021, and he is due a tax refund of $950. Now, John initially tried to set up direct deposit, but he messed up the numbers, right? So if you get a number wrong when you're setting up direct deposit, the IRS, basically it doesn't clear. So the money goes back to the IRS, and then their default treatment next is just to send you a paper check in the mail. So that's what happened here. Now, John can check the Where's My Refund portal, and he sees that the refund was dispatched, but the check never made it to his doorstep, right? So 6 months goes by, he never receives it. He's waited long enough, right? The check should have gotten to him by now. So he decides he's going to complete the 3911 and send that into the IRS. So what parts must John complete as the taxpayer? Well, if we look at the form here, so this top part here, if you're filling this out just on your own, so you haven't already received a form from the IRS, then this section is just going to be blank, right? So the IRS would be the ones completing this top piece if they mailed you this form. But in this case, John is downloaded this form from the IRS website, and he's completing it, and he's going to mail it into the IRS. So this top part can be blank, right? So section 1 is what John would be completing here first. So name, your taxpayer ID number, obviously street address, and a telephone number, a good telephone number to reach you in case they need to speak with you or have any additional questions or information that's needed. Okay, so if you're not using a representative, right, so if you haven't filed a 2848 or 2484, whatever the form is, to request that a CPA or EA or attorney act on your behalf, you can just leave this part blank. So in type 7, this is where you enter the information on the return that you filed that you were supposed to get that refund check. So the type of return, this is an individual income tax return, right, 1040. So form 1040, individual. The tax period was the 2020 tax year, and John indicates here that he e-filed it on April 1st, 2021. Okay. Now the type of refund requested, again, we're going to go with a check here rather than the direct deposit. So we're going to do a check, and then John can enter the amount of the refund. So if his refund was $950, that's what he's supposed to get. He can enter that there, right? Okay, so then section 2, in this case, John just flat out didn't receive the refund, so he's checking this box on line 8. Now this section would be, if this fact applies here, right? So you received the refund check, but before you could cash it, somebody stole it, or you just lost it, right? So it made it inside your house, you got it, but it was lost. or stolen or destroyed, right? So if one of those applies, then check that box. But in this case, John, he just never received this refund check, so you can check box 8 there. And then in section 3, John would sign this, right? So line 13. You should print this, sign it. Obviously, e-signatures are okay on some forms, but this is not one of those. So go ahead and actually use like a wet signature. So sign your name there and then put the date that you're filing it. Section 4 can be blank. Again, as it notes here, this is for Internal Revenue Service only. So section 4, you wouldn't be filling any of these pieces out. The IRS would be the one that would be populating these fields if necessary. Okay, so once you've got the form put together, as you can see, it's pretty straightforward. There's not a lot of information on here, but go ahead and fill all this out, make sure it's all legible, print it out, sign it, and then mail it to the appropriate address, which will depend upon where you live. So go to the form instructions and look up the correct address. I mean, they have IRS processing centers all over the country, so you want to make sure you're sending it to the correct address, otherwise it could delay your refund check even more. Okay, so that covers it for this video. Hope that was helpful. If you have any questions, leave me a comment below, and happy to help where I can, and I look forward to seeing you again on the next video. Thank you.